I am Andrea Yokisari. I am going to talk to you today about the Nuclear Materials Discovery and Qualification Initiative and our proposal call. I'm the Deputy Technical Director of NMDqi, and I'm at Idaho National Laboratory. NMDqi, the Nuclear Materials Discovery and Qualification Initiative, is a new national program, and our mission is to provide cutting-edge tools and knowledge to shorten the time span between a concept that's presented and actual material deployment for advanced nuclear reactor designs. Our vision is that we will have qualification of new materials that are designed for use in advanced reactors in a single development cycle. So overall, the big picture here is that NMDqi takes a grand challenge approach to accelerate development and qualification genome initiative for nuclear materials. So I'll give you a little bit more background about NMDqi. Because we are a new program, I think everybody would like to know a bit more about us. If you'd like additional information, we also have a journal article that's been published in Nature Communications, and we also have a white paper available. And we are, of course, all available for to speak to you if you reach out to us. But Nuclear Materials Discovery and Qualification Initiative is a combination, or takes this multi-pronged approach that incorporates rapid characterization of materials. So high throughput PIE, for example, high throughput characterization methods, and physics-based modeling and simulation, and data analytics to unite all of these things together. So we are actually quite interesting and different here in that we are uniting modeling and simulation and data analytics and experiments together. And so this is something that's core to the program, core to the approach, and has to be applied throughout what we do. So qualification of materials typically takes quite a long time to go in the nuclear arena. Typically, it takes multiple development cycles, including unirradiated tests, plus irradiation cycles, plus PIE. This can oftentimes take 10 years for a cycle to really go through, and take maybe 3 cycles. So it takes quite a long time to actually qualify a new material for use in advanced reactors, or to qualify a new material for use in a reactor. Yep. We're trying to push advanced reactors for reactors. So NMDqi is designed to change this and to shorten this up. Okay. There's an example of old materials, alloy 617, that was qualified in 12 years. We'd like to shorten that up. Okay. So one of the major ways that we want to focus on qualifying new materials is to go from the current qualification regime of saying I have a manufacturing method and my material performs in this way, it's qualified to perform in this way, but it's based on manufacturing method. What we would like to do is move in a different direction, where we have microstructure-based qualification instead, where we lean on the structure of materials. Okay, so this is a very different type of qualification approach, but this is what we think is the wave of the future, and we think that we have the capabilities to do that these days. That's where the vision of the high throughput characterization that characterizes materials in many different ways, characterizes them quickly. We get lots of data that we can crunch, that we have available to us to do data analytics with, and physics-based modeling to tell us okay, these materials, these structures, these characteristics are going to lead to these behaviors. That's how.
Andrea, are you there?
Mm-hmm. I am. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. It's cutting out just a little bit, but we are seeing the Nuclear Materials Discovery and Qualification Initiative slide with the mission and the vision.
Yep.
Is that the right one still?
I'm about to move on to the next slide.
Okay, great, no problem.
Yep.
Somebody thought we were somewhere else, so thank you.
Nope. Yep. I'm about to move on. We only have a few slides, and so we're allowed only a couple slides, so I've been sitting on this one for a while. I'm about to move on.
No problem.
Okay, here we go. So this is what you're interested in now, is what we're actually talking about for the FOA. We seek proposals that go back to that microstructure-based qualification approach that I just talked about. So we want, in this FOA, we want you to develop data analytics frameworks that couple available data sets with modeling tools to predict properties for qualifications of classes of materials. Focus on predicting structure-property relationships via the analysis of representative volumes of materials at the microstructure level, and present well-documented and demonstrated methodologies to calculate macroscopic quantities of interest. Cladding, structural materials, and fuels for advanced reactors. Areas of non-interest include well-established atomistic processes, for example, computing diffusion coefficients or diffusion pathways. Okay, so let me expound upon that to some extent. The focus here a microstructural level of materials and getting out macroscopic quantities of interest, such as yield strength, a tensile strength, a corrosion rate or other corrosion behavior, things of that nature. Something that can become a scalar quantity that is used in engineering decisions, okay? And the scalar quantity or some function, right, for a scalar quantity that is put into, for example, a fuel performance code such as Bison, or a structural materials code such as Grizzly. Okay. So we really want you to focus on representative volumes of material at the microstructure, unite, if you can, physics-based modeling and data analytics together into coming up with something that is statistically accurate or statistically statistically represented. And then the other thing that's very important is that you build a tool that's available. This tool should be based on the Moose framework as much as possible. If you have to use other tools, you need to make, but it can be integrated into the Moose framework. You need to focus on integrating it into the Moose framework. But this tool will be based on the Moose framework. We've been doing a lot of work for developing data analytics and whatnot. So there are hooks for you to pull in things, to pull them into Moose. So data analytics frameworks and actual modeling tools on a data set that already exists. And then you need to demonstrate it and document it. It is very important that this is documented and that this becomes available to the community. So we will focus and score things highly that have those aspects. We don't want something that's bespoke and it lives in a university computer and it disappears afterwards. This is supposed to come back to us. This is a tool that will become available. So like I said, we're interested in materials all over the reactor, okay? But we suggest you pick something in which there's a data set that already exists, but a material that's not already qualified. But you get to pick the material. And like I said, we're interested at the microstructure level. So this would be something that involves microstructural evolution, macroscopic corrosion, for example, dislocation dynamics and slip in a material, and how that changes at the microstructural level, how that changes things. If you need to incorporate atomistic methods or something, there's this well-established methodology that great, but well-established processes or tools or capabilities or what you might say, we're not particularly interested in doing that. We want you to come up with new techniques.
Andrea, can you repeat that last little tiny bit that you did? You've been cutting out quite a bit. I just
Yeah, I
want
apologize. So we're interested in you developing new techniques, new methodologies at the microstructure level, things that incorporate dislocation dynamics, for example, to crystal plasticity growth or microstructural evolution at the mesoscale, say, for example, the phase field method. We're not interested in something that's using atomistic techniques that are already well established and well documented. If you need to use an atomistic technique or approach established or documented in order to answer this bigger question, that's fine, but we're not interested where that's the focus. We want you to develop new techniques where you're going for RVEs to scalar quantities at the macro scale. Okay, so we have our federal program manager is Tencel Selekler, and our technical lead is Dr. Alan Roach. Their contact information is here. So please direct other further questions, particularly of the technical nature, to Dr. Roach. And I guess we're ready to open it up to questions.
Okay, let me unmute Dr. Roach. Dr. Roach, you're self-muted now. If you could mute yourself. And Tencel, I'm going to unmute you. Can you two hear us?
I can.
Yes.
Okay, great, great. Okay, our first question. Does this Workscope include adding extra data from experiments?
Sure. If you need that data set in order to answer this call, in order to do the work that we ask, sure, you could add materials information from experiment. You're not required to use an existing data set, but it's difficult to obtain more data, and so we're not wanting you to. We're trying to make this reasonable as a reasonable request. Exclusion that you are generating yourself.
We just lost that one last sentence that you said. It cut out.
There's no exclusion for generating your own data.
Okay. Next question. Are machine learning methods within the scope of interest for establishing structure-property relationships?
Yes. We would encourage using machine learning. We would also encourage to consider how to apply physics-based modeling with machine learning. Machine learning as a technique, great. There's a lot of work to do there, but because there's lots of materials physics, we want this tool to be broadly applicable to classes of materials. You need to, we would most highly regard usage of machine learning that is also considering physics.
Okay, next question. Is this Workscope focused on machine learning tools for moose or developing models using existing moose capabilities?
Both. You can do both. I would recommend that you use existing capabilities that are available to you if they allow you to do what you need to do. However, if you need to build some kind of capability, then please do so. It would go into Moose. we are doing work already to incorporate different aspects of machine learning and reduced order modeling into the stochastic tools module. So there are already some basis there, but we would greatly encourage if you would add capability there, also excellent.
Okay, are you seeking a primarily computational proposal with maybe some experimental support, or is a proposal that is evenly distributed between experiment and computational data acceptable?
It would lean more toward modeling and simulation. That was the original intent. However, again, as we said, it's not exclusionary to incorporating experiment. If there is a novel experimental approach that you need to do that you can then demonstrate this additional process on,
Andrea, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
We just lost your very last sentence. It cut out.
If you can, I apologize that my internet connection is not wonderful this morning. Sometimes it's okay and sometimes it is not. I guess not today. So we envisioned this as primarily modeling and simulation oriented. However, we would not exclude if you would demonstrate the entire process of experiment and modeling and simulation to meet the goals that we have requested.
Okay. Can you provide examples of materials that program currently considers for cladding, fuel, and core materials?
It's more of a challenge. We are a new program, and so we are not highly focused on any one material system yet. We are in support of advanced reactors. Therefore, I would urge you to focus on materials that are for advanced reactors. That then is very broad, but this is more an answer of exclusion rather than inclusion. We would not be interested in LWR type materials.
Can I add a little bit to that? This is Alan. So I want to add that, as we're looking at advanced reactors, we are looking at extended environments and temperature, radiation, and mechanical properties. So if you're looking at materials that are more advanced, let's say instructional materials, that would certainly be encouraged. And that also could link back into the experimental question. If you feel there's a measurement you need that's not currently available because of the new extended environments, that would probably be a good application as we look at the computational tools.
That's an excellent point. You could look at existing materials for LWRs, but in different aspects or for advanced reactor conditions. That would then be considered a new use case.
Okay, can you please elaborate a little more in detail on existing data analytic tools in the MOOS framework?
There is the MOOS Stochastic Tools module that is being developed. And what I can do is to tell you to please go to moosframework.org, that's the MOOS website, and look at the Stochastic Tools module web page. We have been publishing.
You broke up again, go ahead.
Darn it. Should have called in. The moosframework.org website, then go to the Stochastic Tools module web page. There's a lot of documentation there that describes what is in the Stochastic Tools module so far, including examples to use it. That's where I will leave it at that. There's plenty of information.
Okay, next question. Can you give some example of databases that can be drawn on?
Off the top of my head, no. That's part of the call, is for you to identify a database and decide how to if you want to use it. Alan, do you have any thoughts?
Sure, let me add to that. That's been one of our efforts. We've had a struggle finding suitable data sets. We found some that are close. And so if you want to email me, we can talk about, I mean, there's no need to get into the details now. We found some data sets that are close, but nothing really perfect. And this is where we're hoping that maybe some of the university researchers have kind of already started on their, for example, structural materials, and have been developing a database. That's kind of what we're looking for here. If we can find a partnership, that would be great. This is also, again, back to the experimental question. If you have a database that you think is ideal, but you've got a couple pieces of information you need, that would be a good application for experiments too. So hopefully that helps.
Okay, let's hold on for about another minute. It doesn't look like at the moment we have any more questions. Okay, I'm not seeing any more come in. Thank you very much, everyone, for presenting. And we will be back at 1 p.m. Eastern Time for FC 1.1 through FC 1.4. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.